Good evening, guys. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll start. Hi, guys. Good evening. Niveta was asking something. Yeah, okay. I'm sharing my screen. Already started the recording. Fine. So I have given three real-time scenarios to just try. So we'll first discuss the solutions for those. Okay, first one was building a pipeline to remove duplicate rows using data flows. Okay, we'll try that first. Okay, so we'll build a new data flow. So we need to find some data set where we need to remove the duplicate entries. Yup. So mm, so we have employee data. I don't want this large data, just I'll say department data.csv. Okay, we'll take this data set only, remove the duplicate ones. I'll tell you, I'll create a duplicate and then we'll remove the duplicates. Okay, so this is point get my Azure data like CSV file, then it is input data, then it's dummy, then it is department data underscore CSV. Right, okay, okay. So, since we have only, we'll start this data flow debug. Since we have only these three there, we don't have duplicate values in those, right? So what I'll do is I'll use another source. Take the same file so that the data is duplicated. I'll just open this is same file, right? So data preview, these two will give me same files once again. So what I'll do is I'll create a union operation here so that I'll merge or join both of them so that it will become an total. There are three rows in this, so there will become 6 rows in which three are all duplicate. Okay, I'm just creating a duplicate data set. I mean, data set in which there are duplicate entries. Fine. So, okay, there's this debug start. We'll check and we'll start. Okay, let's check this before this. So, to remove the duplicate rows, what I'll use is there is something called aggregate. Okay, I'll show you how aggregate can be used to remove duplicate rows. So, on the group by, what I'll select is I'll select department ID only. So, which is a unique thing and which I have to eliminate. I mean, I have to remove duplicate values basing on this department ID. Fine. So, on group by, I'll select department ID. On aggregates, there is something called, this is column wise, right? There is something called column pattern. Okay, I'll select that and remove the first one. In column pattern, what we'll give is we have to select all the here each column that matches. We have to give the column names which should be displayed after this department ID, other than this department ID. So what I'll say is when I open this expression builder, it will ask me what are the columns I should be showing. So here it will only tell I am not able to like it will not allow me to give the column names here. Only on some logic I have to give what are the column that should be displayed. So I'll say name that is not equal to my department ID. So my first column name is uh, department ID. So all the columns which has names that is not equal to department ID should be populated here. That's what I wanted to say, right? So, and what are the rows I want are, this is where I should be giving dollar dollar. Okay, and in the and in the after grouping up, what value should I pick it up that I have to declare here? I want to pick up the first row that would come after grouping in the group. Okay, it could be first row so that the next entry or row would be not selected. So I'm only selecting the first row so that the duplicate row is not selected. Okay, this if debug is done, we'll see the output step by step and how it is giving. So here in the source, go to projection. It is taken as string only. We'll say detect data types. Here also we'll go to projection and say detect data types so that data types are populated automatically. It's taking time. Okay, so this department idea is short. Short is nothing but some kind of int, and department name as string it has already detected. I'll do the same here also for source too, so that these are all detected, and we'll go to union and see the data preview here. I should see 6 records, three and three. Three are original, three are duplicate of the same thing. So since we are adding the same one, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I got 6 records. So when I am using this, so there are two columns, right? Here, what I am using is in group by, I'm grouping them by department ID, and after that, while performing the aggregate operation, I am asking it to give me all the columns which are not where the column name is not equal to department ID, and give me all the rows, and give me only first row of that group. Fine. If you say last one, in the group, whatever is the last one, last entry, that would be shown here. Or if you are giving first of dollar dollar, it will give the first of the records. So we'll see the preview for this. What it has given me. So we eliminated the duplicate rows here, because at the end of union we had duplicated, we got three duplicate rows, right? So at the end of aggregate we got these three duplicate rows eliminated. So this is one solution to remove duplicate rows in data flows. Okay, the other one you can do is you can create a window, rank the entries. You can use window function and then use rank and select only the first rank one, so that there are no multiple options. You can use that also. You try with that solution, or else we'll see in the next class or the coming classes how that is done. So uh, basically, for removing duplicate rows, right, you can use all kinds of techniques. Like there could be multiple solutions. The same way you remove duplicate in Excel, if you're not using like just remove duplicate ones, so what you'll do is sort the whole entries or records based on department ID, then see that what are repeating, then have only one entry. So that logic you can use here to build these data flows, and just remove the duplicate ones, right? So see if you can find any alternative solutions also for this. Just try to implement with the data flows, or else we'll discuss in the next class. So what was the other scenario which I've given here? Incrementally copy new and changed files to a folder using its last modified date. Okay, so for that we'll create.
Shashank, can you again show the aggregate settings?
Yes, we'll show the segregate settings. Here, since we have to remove the duplicate rows based on department ID, we are just grouping it by department ID, and we'll go to the segregates tab. And what we do is here, the first option it will ask for what are the columns that have to be displayed. Okay, for this it will not ask me the list of columns. It is not allowing me to give list of columns. Only on for some particular expression, I have to show that what are columns to be displayed. In this, I am giving that to display all the columns which are where the name of the column is not equal to department ID. Okay, so department ID is already we got it group by, right. So that will get displayed. So all other columns which where the column name is not equal to department ID I want to display, and this dollar dollar here will display all the rows. I am saying all the rows have to be displayed, and in this I have to select which of the entry, like when they are grouped, right? So these would be together. I am just picking up the first of the same entry, right? Here this is just dollar dollar, and here it is the first of the same entry. Got it? Here you can use last also. When you select last, then the second entry would be selected. If you are using first, it will be first entry would be selected. So that is how you give. Just take a larger data set and try it out different things. Then I think you'll understand better.
Okay.
Yep.
Actually, I have used Windows function for this.
Yeah. Window you use ranked and picked up the first one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That what I was saying. So that you'll have alternate solutions for duplicate, removing duplicate rows. You can use that also. I have that in mind. I thought somebody would work that, so I want to discuss this because this is not known. This we did not check these options, right? Or when we discuss
Yeah.
aggregate, that's why I just wanted to show this. That is like direct one. We discussed window, then take rank and take rank one. You can filter with rank one, and you can get all the only the unique ones. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That was a good one. Yes. Okay, these ones also try with a larger data set, then you'll get more clarity. Okay,
Shashank,
so yeah,
one question here.
Yes.
So even I have also used the length rank function in the window option.
Yeah.
But here, suppose I want to. Oh, I mean, basically, we are making it as a primary key only. Basically, here,
Yes.
so uniqueness we will be fetching. So suppose if here we have filtered on one level, basically on the basis of the department ID, right?
Okay.
So suppose if we want to add one more level, basically we want to add one more columns in our primary key. Basically, to make the composite key, can we do that here?
So here we have department ID. You say you are saying there are more columns, and after this you want to based on other. So the same thing you can again apply on this, right? Not in the same level, but if you are applying, if there are say 5 or 6 columns, and we have got unique values based on department ID, and you are saying that there may be multiple values based on a different row,
Yes,
different
yes,
column, right? So
yes.
you use the same aggregate function again here, and you can use the same logic as this, right? Then it would work.
Oh, okay, okay, understood. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
got
We have
me?
to add. Yeah, yeah, understood.
Yeah, then here we made this department ID as the this group by department ID. There, whatever you are seeing the duplicate values, that column you can make it as a group, and you can do the same thing. Then that will also get filtered out, right? You try
Understood.
it out. Yeah, that will work. You try it out. If you are stuck somewhere, we'll work on it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Same thing will work. Yes. Okay. So yeah, this is fine, right? So then the second one was incrementally copy new and change files from folder using its last modified date. I don't know if I have discussed that also, but okay, we'll see. Pipeline, we'll create a new pipeline. So say if we're using a copy activity, which folder has more files, we'll just select that as our input data. So these are more files, right? So employee data on 13th. Say input data only, we'll say input data which has on 19 to fine. Okay, what we do is actually we create a data set. We'll see CSV, same linked service, input data only. Okay, so here on the source we have something called wildcard file path. When you give this, it will select all the files with the common wildcard thing, right? So here what I'll select is I'll say star dot CSV so that it will point at all the CSV files, and I want to filter it by last modified date. Okay, so if I say so here I have to give the time range. Normally, if I am selecting this, you can hard code this by giving the date, say from 16th to 19th. Okay, so it is taking by the date from 16th to 19th. Okay, this is the hard code way. So whatever file is there between 16th and 19th, that will be copied. Fine. If what we'll do is what we have to do is we our requirement is to get the latest modified date. Say the requirement is to get the files with modified date in the last 2 days. Then the end time would be the current time, right? Because we have to get the file from last 2 days. The end time would be current time. It would be so we have function in this. We have a function called UTC now, which will fetch the current time from the system. Okay, whenever the pipeline is running, then the UTC now will be fetched, right? From start time, for start time, we want files from the last 2 days, right? So for this, we have something called date add date, add functions date, add days, fine, add days. Then it takes two arguments in the add days, time and number of days to be added. So here first argument what I'll say is I'll select UTC now again. Okay, then this will return current time, and from this instead of adding 2 days, I'll subtract 2 days. So then it will give me the date which is 2 days prior to this UTC now date. Okay, UTC now date is current date which will pick up from the system, right? So when I said here the start time is UTC now minus 2 days and the end date is UTC nowadays, this will become the file which is which is 2 days prior to this time and till this time. Okay, when I run this, the file between these two dates will be picked up. So we don't have a file. What I'll do is I'm closing these two ones. Hmm, I'll just publish this first. I don't have a sync. CSV, I'll put some output data. Open. So I'll create a folder here so that it is so some CSV file new dot CSV. Okay, so if I can publish this, okay, sync is file. Okay, well, say this, I'll say publish. Now, what this copy data does is it will get all the files between last 2 days. I mean, current time and 2 days before that. So I don't have any files in this location basically. Give me 1 second, guys. Just 1 second. I'll be back. Okay, guys. So what I'll do is I'll go here. What I'll do is I'll modify this file so that the modified date gets updated. We'll see. Save. So the modified date is 19.3. So when I run this copy activity, basically it should pick up that file and copy it to my destination. Okay, we'll see that. And if it is done, I'll tell you one more thing. Okay, so this is, we'll go to our output folder 19325. So the file which I have edited came here. So this is working. So what I want you guys to do is this is like just 2 days or 3 days which I'm giving as fixed, right? What I want you to try is for the next class, see that whenever a pipeline is run, you have to store the pipeline time, run time somewhere. And when you're running the pipeline next time, right, you have to get the files that are modified between last pipeline run and now. So maybe you have to think a little bit out of the box for this or take help of ChatGPT or anything. Just find the solution and try to implement it. Okay, then we'll again discuss in the next class about that. Right. So here we are hard coding that the time last 2 days, 3 days, or 7 days, 15 days that we are hard coding it here. I don't want you to hard code that here. You what I want you to do is save the pipeline runtime somewhere. For that, you need to think a bit more, and then fetch the whenever the pipeline is running, it should copy the file that are modified between last pipeline run and now. So try doing that. I'll give you the solution in the next class. Fine. And what is the other requirement? So get count of files in a folder in ADF. Okay, so this is a simple one. We'll get it. So we need to count the type of files in a folder, right? So generally, if you want to get the details of files in a particular folder, what do we use? We use get metadata activity. So since we need to understand what are the child items, then we'll use get metadata activity only. So we'll come to here, come to this, create an data set, go to input data. In input data, what I'll do is I'll find the .csv files. Okay. So now this input data container, I'll count the number of CSV files. Okay. Or else, okay. So here, so if I am publishing this I can close. If I am publishing this, no, we have to add this child field list, right? So field list, add child items. Okay. So this is done. If you are publishing this, you will get the output, right? Once we'll check the output and add, we'll see what can be done. Okay, when we run this, we'll check the output. We know what it is, but just for the sake of it, we'll see the output. Okay, the output is giving me the child items of this list of all the child items of this folder, right? So it is giving me all the child items here. So it is giving in the form of a list, right? Each child items is one item in this. These are all list items, right? What I have to do is I have to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 items. Okay, I am not counting only CSV files. I want to count all the items. So this is 10 items I have to count. So what should I do? What I have to do is I have to count what are the items in this child items. For that, to count and to store, I need a variable. So I'll click on here canvas. I'll create a pipeline variable here. I'll name it as files count. Okay, and I'll initiate it as a integer value. I'm not putting any value here. So files count is a variable. Now variable is there. I have to count this output and store in this variable so that I can use it somewhere in the future, right? So to count and store this value in files count, what do I use? I use a set variable activity. So I have the set variable activity, connect this so that the set variable activity counts the output of this. Go to settings. Here we will select the same variable. So the value of this files count should be the count of the metadata. So click here, add dynamic content, and in these functions, I have something called length. Expression of type string. This is integer, nice. Output length or say functions collection length. In length, I will select the child items of this activity. So find the length of the child items. Okay, as simple as that. You selected the child items and you're finding the length of these child items. Then it will give the whole number here. You can debug. You see the output of this. See the output of set variable. There are 10 files. Right. What we are doing is we are using the inbuilt function of this. You can all see what are all the functions here, so that you can use that based on the variables or parameters. It is as simple as that. So we have used some functions previously while doing other small pipelines also. So here we use the length on this child item. So it has counted all the child items that gave us the value. So generally, what is the real-time application of this is, generally if we have some service that is putting required 5 or 6 files in a particular folder. So daily it will put 5 files in that folder. Then after that we are picking up from the folder and we are processing it. Say there are some cases where that service puts the 4 files on that day, and maybe it is placing the fifth file a bit late. Maybe one day it is half an hour late, or some days it is 1 hour late or 2 hours late. In that case, what we'll do is we'll create this pipeline and see that we'll run this pipeline every 1 hour or 2 hours. Only when all the five files are available in the folder, then only we'll move forward. So we'll use these two things to count the number of files in a folder. If then we'll use some other activity or logic where we'll count this, see the value of this variable. If it is more than 5, then we'll go forward. If it is not equal to 5, we'll stop. That's what, just an application to just count the number of files and go forward. Normally we don't use count, only because we need to get some input data. We need to count the number of files, whether they are there in the folder or not, so that we can move forward for the processing of these data. There we'll use this. The similar ones we used was whether the file is present in the particular folder or not daily. That kind of logic we used, and we build small pipelines, right? The same way, this logic, this will become the first part of our pipeline, where these will check the number of files in the folder, and only when the files are present, the current number is present, we'll go forward. For that we are using this. Fine. Okay. So we got these three done, and again today after today's class, I have already asked you to do that pipeline one, because to get the files after last pipeline and today's run. And after this class, I'll share more use cases which will solve in the next class. Now today we have missed some activities. We'll just do those. Okay, so there is something called store procedure activity. Okay. So the stored procedure activity is nothing but you will have a link service connected to an SQL DB. Okay, and if there is a stored procedure in that SQL DB, you will give the name of the stored procedure, and when you run this, the stored procedure will run there. Okay, so I have a DB SQL database. This is actually I-27 SQL database. I have this DB, but I do not have a link service connecting to this. What I'll do is I'll create a link service first connecting to this, and we'll execute the storage storage procedure in this. I have a storage procedure already created in this. I'll tell you what it does also. Okay, first we'll create a link service. Here only we can create a link service plus, and say link service one. Say I'll say I-27 SQL DB ls. Okay, so we'll come Amazon RDS SQL Server. No, bro. It is selecting Amazon SQL RDS Server. I don't want this. I'll go to my linked services. Say new link service. I'll say Azure SQL database. Okay, here I'll say I-27 SQL DB underscore ls. And I'll use the same integration runtime subscription. I'll use this server name. It will come my server I-20 SQL server. This is the server name. Database name I-27 SQL DB. This is my database name. Authentication SQL authentication. Username I-27 admin. I-27admin. Password is a. Okay, I'll log in here first. Then we'll connect from there, because it's give the okay, logged in here, so we can connect it also from here. Test connection, create. Go to this pipeline, see if I have this I27 SQL DB underscore ls. Okay, so I have selected the link service here. Now I have to select the stored procedure. Once this link service selected, when once it is connected to the particular SQL DB, your stored procedures will be populated here. What are all the stored procedure are available in that? We'll show you here. This here stored procedure is increase employee salary. Now we'll go there and see what this stored procedure does actually. So I have one table called dbo.employee. I will say select star from dbo.employee, say run. So these are my values, which are employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, hire date, salary. Okay, so this is my table, employee table. Then I have this store procedure, view definition. So what this store procedure does is, what it is defined to do is, it is taking two inputs as parameters, say employee I for employee ID value and percentage increase. For this employee ID value, it is asking for a int number, some number, which is just the employee ID number, right? So that one, this one, employee ID as this number, and per percentage increase we are asking for a decimal number, so that what it will do is it will take update it, what it will do is it will update the employee record. It will set salary is equal to salary plus salary into percentage increase by 100. If your salary is say 1 lakh, your 20%, it will say salary plus 20% of 1 lakh, and it will calculate this and update the salary of the particular record. That is what it is doing. Okay, so where employee ID equal to employee ID. So what you'll give is you will give two inputs, employee ID and percentage increase in salary. It will calculate and update the record here. That is what this stored procedure is doing. Normally, stored procedure is nothing but a set of SQL queries only. We'll come to SQL again while we are learning Databricks. We'll learn SQL from basics, queries and all. It is nothing but see, this is an SQL query, and again this is an SQL query. Okay, we when we are creating a stored procedure, we'll create a stored procedure to run same kind of queries. It's like a predefined set of code, or you can also define it as a function. Okay, so the use to reuse the same set of code again and again, we create stored procedures, right? So here we created a stored procedure so that it can take employee ID as input and percentage increase as input and update the record of in the table. Okay. When again we learn SQL basics and stored procedures, we'll again learn in detail how to write this stored procedure. For now, I'm just explaining how this code works. Okay, update employee set salary, salary plus salary into percentage increase by 100, where employee equal to employee ID. So when I'm selecting the stored procedure here, I have selected the stored procedure, right? Then what I'll do is I'll import the parameter so that I can give the parameter values here. Okay, it is asking for employee ID. I'll say employee ID is 2, percentage increase, I will say 20%. And if I run this here, it will take the 2 and 20 as inputs for the stored procedure. It will connect to this SQL DB, connect to this stored procedure, and it will execute the stored procedure. Means it will update the employee 2 value here. Employee 2 nahi hai kya? Arey yaar. What it will update it? Na 2 is not there. It will not do anything. This time we'll give 3. Okay, we'll debug. Now what it will do is it come to the third record. Since the salary is 82,000, right? It will do an increase of 20% and update this 82,000 record. So when this sort procedure is done, we'll come back here and see the number 3 record again. So for number 3 record, it has updated the salary. That's what the store procedure has done. So here we have given these values as hard coded values. We have given 3 and 20. Normally what we'll do is we'll get these values from some other input. Okay, like a parameter value. Whenever we are taking some parameter value from a pipeline parameter or pipeline variable, right? The same way here you can get those values dynamically. So as a part of the project, we'll implement that. When we are running a stored procedure, these values will come somewhere from the external thing, like some they may be stored in a SQL DB or some service is producing these values. We'll take the values from there. We'll pass it here using this dynamic content variables or parameters here, and then we'll run the stored procedure. Right. So this is how we run stored procedure uh, from Azure Data Factory. So it is also used as a part of the pipeline. For example, right, I'll discuss one more activity and I'll show. I thought we'll discuss some pipelines from my organization, right? So we'll go there first. There is stored procedure, right? We have some other activity called script activity, similar to this. Okay, so what the script activity does is the same way it is also using the link service to connect to the database, right? In this database, whatever script you give, that script would be executed in this on this table. Table also you'll anyway declare in the SQL query itself. So whatever query you give here, that would be run on this database. Okay, you can give anything. If you say just a retrieval query, something like this, there is no way to get the output from there to here, so it will not work. So but if you are providing some update query like the previous ones, what will it do is it just take the query and run it on the database. You don't need to have stored procedure also. Means you can have the same stored procedure code in the script also, right? So the script activity is also used as a part of the pipeline. So if for example if we want to run something, we'll say delete from dbo dot employee where employee id emplo employee id is less than 4. When you say delete from db.employee where employee ID is less than 4, employee ID is less than 4, it should delete all the values where employee ID is less than 4. We'll just debug this. It's already connected. We'll just run it and see. So if it will run this. So all the records which are less than 4 have been deleted. So we can run the script here also, right? Okay, we can write whatever we want. We can write how much ever we want, bigger scripts also to run the script on this database. Right, this is what script activity is used. Okay, so now, like in previous classes, I said that we would connect to my organization account. Just what we'll do is, hmm, no, 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 not this one. 8. So this is my organization account Azure platform. So I'll show you my test environment data factory only. I will see some pipelines so that we'll basically understand why we are building these pipelines for. Basically, when we are building these pipelines, it is not for one time use or doing one time operation on the data. So we'll set up a flow of activities continuously so that the data will undergo all these activities or transformations, right? So when I'll show, it is just loading. uh, I'll show some articles, case studies. Okay, so when you take this pipeline, this is a lengthy pipeline, right? So here what basically it is doing is, it is taking some data from two different tables. Here you are using copy data, right? It is taking data from, when you click on this, the source is some actions table. It is taking data from actions table, and this activity is taking data from notifications table. Okay, so it is taking data, and this activity is taking data from something called a Neo4j graph database. Graph database is similar to an SQL database, but the data on graph database is stored in the form of nodes and relationships, not in the form of rows and columns. Basically, there the data is stored in the form of nodes and relationships, right? So these three activities are just fetching the data from three different sources. Then what we have two other notebook activities. These are nothing but the Databricks notebook activities. Okay. So when you click on this, you go to Databricks. What we do is the same way you're creating a link service to hit an SQL DB. For Databricks also, we'll create a link service so that it will hit that Databricks platform to run a particular notebook. We'll give the link service here in settings. We will give the location of the notebook whenever we'll give the path of this notebook here, right? So so we can make the Databricks notebook run as a part of this pipeline. Okay, so these two notebooks are running as a part of the pipeline. Then after the data is processed in the Databricks notebook, here the data is then copying. This activity is like copying this data from Parquet file to an SQL database using an stored procedure, right? Okay, so don't get overwhelmed by this. This is simple, only nothing. Only thing is, you are taking the data Parquet file, you are taking the data from the source and writing it to the SQL table. Okay, you are, while in sync now, while writing to a table, if you use insert, the new records will be inserted. If you use upsert, those will be upserted. Upserted is nothing but, if new records are there, it will insert. If old records are there, it will get updated. In stored procedure, what you do is, you are not dealing with any insert or upset. That code would be written in the stored procedure. This stored procedure will deal with how the data has to be updated from this source and how it has to be updated on the sync table. Okay, so this stored procedure anyway, source procedure will be written by DBA guys, and we'll give them the requirement. They'll give us the stored procedure, uh, and we'll use the same stored procedure to move this data. Fine. So after this, that there is some other comment activity. This copy data is just, it is not using the output of this activity, but this activity is just placed to take place after this copy data activity. This is taking data from same Parquet file, some other Parquet file, and it is doing a delete activity on the same database. Okay, after that there is an again stored procedure to delete those files from a particular table. So basically what I wanted to say is, these are the these are the combination of activities that are applied on a particular data that is coming to this. So once we build this pipeline, we will schedule this pipeline to run at some intervals. So here if you go to trigger and see, so here we created a trigger so that this pipeline will run every 4 hours. So the same way, whenever we are building a pipeline, okay, building a pipeline, we will build the pipeline for once. So since we are building the pipeline for once only, we will consider all the scenarios, how the data is coming, what kind of issues the data might have. There may be null values, there may be wrong values. To filter out those things only, we will be using these data flow activities. We are learning data flow activities, right? Filter, aggregate and all. We will understand what the data is coming from the source. So to deal with that data only, we are using different steps to meet our requirement that has to be returned to the destination. Right. So only once we'll build the pipeline. If we build the pipeline once, we'll not change it daily. This will only run daily so that the data is processed continuously at equal intervals of time. Okay, so this is getting these copy data are getting the data from some tables, right? So if now at 9 o'clock these are run, this some data will come, but again after 4 hours it will run as per my trigger. It will be somewhere around 1 o'clock, right? So 1 o'clock again this pipeline will run. Then again new data will come. So again this new data has to be processed. So what is the basic purpose of building a pipeline? If we will build a pipeline for once only, it is not that daily we are doing pipeline, we are building the same pipeline to handle the same data. Basically, you may ask something like, what if there are more issues with the data? Today, some data is coming in this format. Tomorrow, the data may be changed or not, right? So, first thing is the data should be like in normalized or in sync. Daily, the data should be the same. That is the responsibility of the person who is providing us the data. Basically, some requirement will be given by a client or a team leader or some guy, right? So he will tell us this is the data you are going to get. Build me a pipeline so that all these transformations are done in the pipeline, and at the end, give me the data to a particular SQL database. Right. So if he is giving all kinds of data each day, this will not work. He will give me what is the schema of the data, like what are the columns are there, what might be the errors in that column. For that, maybe we'll ask the client to give us some sample data, say some sample of 1,000 records. If he says we are gonna get 1 lakh records every run, we'll tell him that okay, give us just 1 lakh records of one day, or give us 10,000 records, so that we'll understand what kind of errors we have to handle. Then seeing the data, we'll understand what kind of errors are there. Say if it is an employee data or some address data, if the address data is there, so we'll need to filter out on some spellings or some date. If there are date values in the source data, we have to see that all the date values are in the same format, or we have to filter and convert everything. So those kinds of decisions we will take once looking at the sample data. Okay, based on the sample data, we will build the pipeline, and we will have the same kind of data. So when we build the pipeline, we do it in a development environment. So we are not running the actual data actually, only the sample data will be running. Again, these pipelines would be tested in a test environment, right? So there also, if anything are found, there are then they are filtered out, any issues. Then we'll send the same pipeline, same code to pre-prod environment. Pre-prod environment is nothing but same like a production environment. All the data and all the conditions would be same. Okay, then we'll get a chance to run the whole of the pipeline and data in the pre-prod environment. Then we'll find out any issues which are any new issues that may come there with the actual data. Then we'll send the pipeline to the production data. So there are these levels of filtering or testing that has to be done before the pipeline or code will that is deployed on the production environment. Right. So what I wanted to show you is, so we build this pipeline for once only. We are not gonna build daily. We are not gonna build the same pipeline for the same data. If you are building pipelines daily, you will get a new requirement, and you will build a new pipeline for the new requirement. For one requirement, you will build only one pipeline for once only, and that pipeline will take care of the data, and it will be running every day for every 4 hours, every 1 hour, every 2 hours, anything like that. So and one more thing, when I said we'll in the first class or intro class, I said that we'll use data factory and databricks in combination. As a data engineer, we are using data factory and databricks in combination, right? So uh, here we are using data factory mainly to connect to the different kinds of data sources. If you observe in this pipeline, here this copy data is used to get data from this actions table. This is some SQL table. Notification table for the SQL table. Here, again, here this copy data activity, it is getting from my Neo graph database using a REST API. Okay. Then after that, after getting the data, all the data we are not processing or transforming the data in a data factory. We are using notebook activities to transform the data. Notebook activity means Databricks. We are using Databricks notebooks to process the data. I'll open Databricks also here. Duplicate. Okay, I will go here, not this one. Databricks. So I'll show you the same notebook that is the part of that pipeline. We'll see that. There are two notebooks, right, which are shown here. Article process and case study process. Then that article once is this, the new articles in communities. So here, this pipeline is basically getting these three copy data activities are getting the data from different sources, and in the sync it is placing in the uh, our data ADLS location. It is storage account location. Okay. Then what these notebooks are doing, these are picking the data from that data storage account location and processing the file. I'll show you from where it's picking up. Yeah. Yeah. See here, how when we learn Databricks, we'll understand how it will pick up. So it is giving the address of the particular file that is in the storage account location. It will get the data from the storage location, and then we are writing PySpark code to transform this data. Right. So when in the beginning or initial days, when I said that we are using data factory and Databricks in combination. So for a data ingestion and to get the data from different sources, we are using these data factory activities. But the actual transformations we are doing in Databricks. So here the actual transformation of data we are doing in the Databricks, because Databricks can handle large amounts of data in less amount of time. Efficiently it can handle. And again, when are using these are all activities because these are touching a different, again, a SQL database or anything, some SQL table these are involved with. That's why we are using here. We are not doing the same in notebook, because again in the notebook we'll have to connect to the particular database. There it will involve more code just for connection and all. So but here, since connecting to external databases or tables is easy, we are using these activities to connect to the particular SQL table or to the particular to write data onto particular SQL table. So we are using data factory also as a part of the pipeline, and data bricks also. So data bricks we are using for data processing, data factory we are using for ingestion and for this creation of scheduling and scheduling. Right here we are schedule this pipeline to run for every 4 hours trigger, right? So for scheduling and for monitoring, if you go to this monitor tab, we will see all the runs that have done in last 30 days. So these are all the pipelines that have run in the last 30 days. So here we can monitor each pipeline, why it has run or why it has not run. Click on the pipeline run. Here each activity, it will show how much time it took, run start time, how much duration it has taken. If we want to check the failed pipelines, you can check the failed pipelines, and it will show which activity has failed. Here the notebook process has failed. Right. So we can see what is error. If you click on this error, failed activity error, it will give me what the error is. I can copy this. This is details of the error. It is pointing at the notebook itself. So when I copy this and paste it in the browser, this is the URL of the notebook. You'll just keep that, and we delete the other data which is behind the URL. So when I open this URL, it will take me to the notebook run, which was during the pipeline, not just the notebook. The data has run, right? Physically, the notebook will run. So that particular run, it will show me, and it will show me where the error was there. So it is saying some duplicate column was inserting while doing this. Right? If I say highlight the error, it will take me to that particular block of code where the error was happening, right? So it is showing that run only. I can't edit this notebook here. It is showing that particular run, what all happened in the notebook. It is showing it started at 6:13 p.m., then ended 6:14 p.m. It took 43 seconds and it has failed at this particular block and all. So for this monitoring and scheduling purpose, data factory is very easy. But when you go to Databricks, here also you can build complete end-to-end pipelines. But monitoring, scheduling, seeing more pipelines at a time, that becomes more tough. So we are using Data Factory and Databricks in combination for moving the data and transforming the data. Right. So any questions, guys? Since I am showing this, if you have any real-time kind of questions, we'll clarify here. Because okay, then now we know that why we are building pipelines. It's not that for one operation we are building the pipelines. This operation has to be done regularly, recursively. So for that purpose, we are building the pipeline. It will be running every day, every hour, every minute, anything like that. It based on the requirement, right?
Shashank,
Yes,
in Databricks, we are using only Python, right?
yes.
Where we are handling the packages, like we can install any Python packages, I think. So,
You can see my screen.
yeah,
We are importing packages here itself.
yeah. What if we need to install the packages? Like
Okay.
we are doing this normally, or we are storing those, installing and storing those packages anywhere?
Okay. Yes. In Databricks, when we go to Databricks, we will learn in detail. We have something called clusters. Clusters is nothing but the processor of the Databricks. So if you go to see, these are all the three clusters that are created for this. If you go to a particular cluster and go to libraries, here we have installed the libraries. These are the libraries and connectors already installed.
Okay.
Okay, we install the libraries on the clusters. So cluster is nothing but the processor or processing capacity of this Databricks platform. So we all learn this in detail. How many workers are there? How many workers are allotted? What is the size? What is the Spark version that it is using? We'll all define this and create a cluster. So and the required libraries also we will create in the same cluster. Okay,
Okay.
and from that, and while we are building the notebook, we'll import those and use those functions and all. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Shashank, one question.
Yes.
Uh, can can you show where we are using incremental there in that pipeline?
Here we are not using any incremental thing. Only because only we'll be using is notification table. I'll show you. Source. Here I am getting data. This is a cipher query. If you see, one minus date part get date. I'm using data which is of the last 8 days. If you see this here, 8 minus dot part get date, right? So I am using all the data which is of last 8 days. I am not using incremental data logic in this pipeline. I want to get data of the last 8 days and then I want to get it processed.
So every sync basically it will, as per this code, right? Every
Yeah.
sync it will take whole 8 days of data, right?
Last 8 days of data.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what it is. It is written, right?
Yeah, it is taking last 8 days of data. The requirement is such that it should take last 8 days of data, last 15 days of data, not between last run and this run. So that's why it's taking last eight days of data.
Yeah, understood. Shashank, why I'm asking, right? I
Yeah,
suppose as per the customer, our client, right?
yeah,
We want, suppose we want the all the historical data first, and then go for the incremental. Understood. So if we have a data from suppose 2000,
yes.
so and today we are building the pipeline. So
Okay,
at my first build, actually, I want my start date to be put it as 2000, and then in the next 24 hours, if suppose I have put it a trigger of 24 hours, then
Okay.
in next sync my start date should be the today's date, and end date to should be the epoch,
Yeah,
basically
the
the
same
modern
the same
time.
way which I asked you, the pipeline should take the last run time and today's time, right? The second scenario, you are saying that you're asking me, I'll tell you what, I'll reframe the question. You tell me it's correct or not. You are telling me when the pipeline runs for the first time, should take all the data from 2000 year to now, and when you are running for the next time, it should take only the last pipeline run date and current run date,
Yes, you're right.
right? So we'll design a pipeline such that the last run date is empty for the first time, and it is taking it is empty for the first time, and there will not be a value for the pipeline run date in the source, right? When you're running for the first time, you will provide the last run date yourself, like say 2000 or 99 year. So the whole pipeline will run. When the pipeline is running, what it will do is it will store the pipeline run for the first time in a particular place. So next time when it is running, it will take the data from the particular place where the last run is stored. You can take that, and again, so every time it is running, it will pick up the date from the last pipeline run. Only for the first time, it will take. We will give a default value as your 99 year.
Understood.
Okay, you will create a pipeline parameter or pipeline variable. In that default value will be there, right? There you will give your 99 year. He'll give you a date. He'll give you 99 year. So this will be 99 year only until not variable. Take a parameter. So it will be 99 year until you are overwriting it. So first time it will take the 99 year only. From the next onwards, wherever you are storing that pipeline run date, it will pick it up from there. So I told you I'll share the solution in the next class, right? You try it out for yourself, and this scenario also, whatever you asked, we'll implement and we'll see there.
Okay, understood.
Yep.
Shashank, for
Yes,
this task, can we maintain a SQL table?
I didn't get you.
Like you are saying, as he's talking about, on the first run, he wants to take all the historical data.
Yes.
So what we can do is we can maintain a table where we
Okay.
are storing the pipeline and runtime. And on the first run, if
Yes.
the pipeline we don't get any date from where
Yes.
we need to pick the data, then
Yeah.
we set a default date like 1900.
Yes.
From 1900, we will take the data,
Yes.
and at that time we store the pipeline execute and the end time of the pipeline.
Yes. What
And
you have
from the
said is
next
right. Yes, I got you. What you have said is right. You'll store the data as 1900 or 1999 in that SQL table, that one cell,
yeah,
row or column. You read the from the data. When that the pipeline run is done, the updated time will be replace the old value in the SQL table. That is the solution basically. You gave me the solution for that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are going to implement in the next class. We
Oh,
can have SQL table also. We can have a particular file also. We can just write to a particular CSV file or JSON file also. We'll see that also. Or else we can, there is something called Azure table local to this Azure Data Factory. We can write to that also. We have three things. We'll discuss all those three. What you have said is a solution for what the previous person has asked and what I have asked. That's what.
oh,
That's what.
okay.
Yeah. Yes, guys. More some real-time questions, real-time doubts, basic doubts like why we are building pipelines, what is happening. I just wanted to show this because we should understand why we are actually building pipelines. It is not like one time. It is not like we are building the pipeline for only once use. It's for continuous use, like the same pipeline, like the same like you are building a pipeline for a central repository, like a municipal water tank to your house. The pipeline is built only once. Maybe you'll do repairs whenever it is not working, but only the pipeline is laid only once. So the water is flowing from the central municipal water tank to your house daily. It's not that only for once you are getting the data from there to here. It is for continuous usage, repeated usage. Right. So these. is how pipeline looks. Okay, and these are Databricks notebooks.
Shashank, I
Shashank,
think.
uh,
Yes.
can we use uh, this script and this procedure to create tables also in database, or just for insert, update, delete?
Uh,
We can use
you
script.
can do whatever you want in the script activity. Only that. So whenever you are having connections between Data Factory and SQLDB, right? So whenever you are creating linked services,
Mhm.
so whenever we have accessed our database, right, we have access with an authentication ID password. It was basically an admin ID password. So when for database, you will have different kinds of users, right? You will have a only read user. You will have only write user. You will have admin user also. Basing on the user and password, it will define what the user can do on the SQLDB. Right. So if this is linked service, right? Here, if I'm using basic authentication here, SQL authentication here I'm using username, here I'm giving password. Like we use the same thing on our data factory, right? So if
Right.
this user is admin user and password, and if you're connecting using this to that database, you can give whatever script you want. It will work. It will
Okay.
depend on the user whether you can create table or not, because
Okay.
it will just take the script and put it there. That's it. A data factory will not decide what the script is doing.
Okay.
It will take the script, it will take the username password, give it to DB. If DB allows it, it will do.
Okay. Got it.
Whether DB allows it or not depends on the username and password.
Okay.
Whether that username is having the rights or not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing, if it is SQL authentication, that kind of thing will work. And moving forward after this, learning all the services during project time, what we'll learn is something called there is there's something called identities on this Azure platform. Okay, so to for the communication between two services, what we do is we create something called identity so that uh, Data Factory as a whole can talk to SQLDB, not with a particular user. The ID of this Data Factory will become the user for the database. Right, just on seeing the user, it will give access and it will tell what it can be done. So these SQLDB guys, what they'll do is for the particular user, they'll give the access, whether it is read access or write access or admin access.
Okay.
So we can create users like that when we have learned Data Factory, Databricks, and Synapse. While being doing a project, we'll implement these. There are different kinds of identities also. Something called system assigned or user assigned manager entity, something like this. We'll use this. Or else normally we use SQL authentication, but while using SQL authentication also there is something called Azure Key Vault. We'll learn in this next class. These are some topics that are left off in Azure Data Factory. So Key Vault is a place where we'll store passwords and we'll
Okay.
give a tag name for that. So passwords are not given to us. Basically, when we are building on a data factory, right, we give ID and password, right? So
Mhm.
generally, whenever a service is there, DB kind of thing, the passwords is not shared with the developers or any users. Basically, what they'll do is the infra guys or the DevOps guys, they'll create something called Azure Key Vault. They put the password in that there, and they'll create a tag name for that password, and they'll give me secret name is they'll create a secret name for that particular password and give the secret name. Whenever I give the secret name here, this data factory will use the secret name, go to Azure Key Vault, fetch the password, give the password to SQLDB and do the necessary things so
Okay.
that this password is not exposed to any of the developers or anything. Because if the password is there, I can directly go to DB and do something, right? So this way that is not possible.
But why I ask this question? Because sometimes, like from source, we first load the data in staging table, then we do some transformation, then
Yes,
upload it to the core table. So
yes.
that staging table we have to build when we need to do some transformation. That's why I asked
Yeah,
this.
staging table also, what happens is landing table or staging tables, you will give the requirement as per the data to the SQL DBA guys. The data they'll not put it, but they'll create a table and give it to you.
Yes, just only the structure, only
Yeah,
data
they'll
we
they'll
will be
create a
sharing.
schema and give it to you.
Yes,
Then
yes,
you will
yes.
be inserting data into that. You
So
can do
okay.
You can, while inserting the data also, there is option on data factory to create a table also. Say copy activity.
So what I'm asking, that creating schema that we can do, but we have to be access, then only we can do, right?
Then only it will be possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So here if you see, this is a copy data activity, right? So my source is some Parquet file, the file something like CSV file only. That Parquet file, it is in my storage account. So sync is notifications table, right? So this is using a stored procedure to upload the data to that notifications table. Or else if I'm inserting it, and I have an option called table option called use existing or auto create table. If I select auto create table, if the table is not there, or it will create a table automatically if the user has access to create a table on the DB, and it will insert into the table.
Okay.
The condition is that user which we are using to create the link service, right? That user should have the access.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Got your point.
yeah, yeah. So most of the things like connecting to your sources, connecting your passwords, everything would be handled by the DevOps guys or the infra guys. They'll not let you have any access or anything. For this data factory also, they'll only give access. Integration runtimes also, they'll not give permission to create integration runtimes or anything like that. They'll only create those. Only thing is we'll build pipelines, we'll do transformations on these activities. That
And
only
triggers we do, or
triggers we
they.
do. Triggers we do. Triggers is not a resource, right? So it is just a logic only when
Okay.
it should run and all. Triggers we can do. Only they'll not access any kind of resources. They'll not give to create resources. Will not have rights. Only to connect to those resources also they'll give us using that Azure Key Vault only.
So how you test if something pipeline you have built? So you like the dummy data they provide you, or you created dummy data to test something which you
That
want?
depends on, see, if here see if dummy data depends on the requirement. If they are providing the dummy data, we'll use the dummy data, right? Here, basically, we are getting the data from a different SQL table. It depends on the
Oh,
requirement whether the data is present on the SQL table or not. Are they having that data there on the SQL table? If they're having it, we'll use it. Or else, we'll know for the first time they'll give us the dummy data and we can create the dummy data later. The same way, we'll create some dummy data on the same table and we can use. Basically, we'll not create because the SQL table again, they'll not give access to us to the SQL table. Only the data
okay.
is there. We'll have the access only to get the data.
Okay.
Generally, only if you are doing a POC part or development part, then you don't want to ask them for dummy data also. Then you maybe create your data, and again, that is also a problem. Only in case of if when your source is your storage account and just the CSV files, you can put some data in CSV files and run. Like we are doing while I am showing all these activities, I am showing you, right? Like that you can run. But
Oh,
all other cases with development also, there would be some reference point or some data that will be provided to you, or
okay.
else you'll ask what is the kind of data that I'm getting, so from where should I
Mhm.
get?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay guys, any more doubts? Or else for the next class what we have is we have couple of three activities on data flows, and then we have this we have left out with the REST API pagination topic last class, right? That we'll discuss in the next class, and we'll discuss more real-time scenarios only. I'll share the real-time scenarios today. Try do working on that. We'll build the same real-time scenario solution for that. Say I'll give some 5 or 6 real-time scenarios. So we'll discuss the real-time scenarios. If anything new we are learning in the real-time scenarios, we'll learn that activity or thing on that and we'll do. First, we'll cover these activities that are some 2, 3 activities are left on the data flows. Then there are some stored procedure is done. There is lookup activity and something on this. We'll discuss that and we'll proceed with more real-time scenarios. There's somewhere around 30, 40 real-time scenarios that has to be discussed. We'll proceed with those.
So Shank, we are going to cover Databricks from scratch, right?
Yes, yes. We'll learn Python basics. We'll learn Python basics. Then we'll look into SQL basics. Then we'll learn what is PySpark. and Databricks, then we'll go to Databricks.
Or is there any like major difference between Databricks and Snowflake?
Yeah, the complete usage is only different, right? So Databricks is an platform to process data, then it is not completing a data warehousing tool. When you take Snowflake, it is a complete data warehousing tool. And to my knowledge, in Snowflake, you use SQL queries to store data, to process data, to retrieve data from a data warehouse. Here, we are already having data from a different source. You're getting the source from there, data from there, and you're processing the data. The use case, there may be some intersection, like some common use cases between Snowflake and Databricks, but it is not the same tool.
Okay. And
Here
I have
also,
seen
yes.
you are using Jenkins, so that one used for deployment, right? CI CD.
Yeah, Jenkins, we use Jenkins to deploy code to different environments from CD, say from test to UAT to pre-prod, pre-prod to prod. So for deployment of repos, we use Jenkins CI/CD. Normally, people or all other organization use Azure DevOps for deployments. We'll learn Azure DevOps deployment also after
Okay.
these real-time scenarios are done. We'll integrate with GitHub, create repos, and do how the deployments are done. And again, we'll do the same activity with Azure DevOps and see how the CI/CD is done there also. Then
Okay.
we'll do our mini project.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Then I'll share the real-time scenarios. Try working on that. And today also that we have discussed now, last pipeline run, last date, and now try working on that. We'll meet in the next class, 9 p.m. again. We'll discuss more real-time scenarios. Solving real-time scenarios would be better. Right. Okay, guys, then.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Yeah. Good night, guys.
Hello, Shashank sir.
Yes.
How will we manage sir, resources? Because the free uh, 20,000 amount will be lost. It is decreasing. So how will we manage for a practice purpose?
You create a different account or you convert into pay as you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you go as pay as you go, what will
Hmm.
be the charge? What
If you are
this
using
is
only Azure Data Factory, it will not be more than 800 to 900 per month. But when you
okay.
create Databricks, a little bit more will be there. But we'll also control that. First, when we are introducing Databricks, first we learn Python, right? Then you don't need to have Databricks. We'll
Hmm.
use some free tools. And as soon as Databricks is introduced to you, you can use something called Community Edition. I'll show you how to create one. Okay, so for 1 week, 1.5 week, you can use Community Edition, and after that only you can create a Databricks account on Azure. That that also first 15 days it will give you for free.
Okay.
So most of the time we'll go step by step so that most of the time you'll use free only. After that, maybe for 1 month or 15 days, you will use Databricks on paid mode.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, we'll manage that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay then, guys. Any more doubts or we'll close?